Hello everyone, Firecrest Gaming here, and welcome back to another video. In this video, it seems to be the monthly series now of reviewing the latest Forza Motorsport 6 DLC. So, it is January 2016 now. Obviously, Happy New Year to one and all. Probably should have done that in a later video, but it seems appropriate to bring it up now. So, here we go then. So we're going on through obviously all 7 cars in the pack as is normal, and will be broken into 2 parts, 4 cars on this one and 3 in the next. So beginning off, we have this. It is the 1973 Holden Monaro. This car is a D class This car is D class at performance rating of 309. So it's one of the slower cars in the pack, but it's only about the 3rd slowest, I think. There's a couple of E classes in this one. Don't worry, there's going to be a car later, and I'm not going to know what to say about it. So I took this car to the Indy circuit at Brands Hatch, so the smaller layout, and it wasn't actually that bad. Considering its basic layout, it seems to be a kind of muscle car style kind of car, and yet it handled very well through the corners. But one of the things that particularly I quite liked, it still had a really nice muscle car kind of noise to it, as you can probably hear right now. The car had a really nice noise to it. It's kind of the classic muscle grunt as such. The only problem with this car is I feel as though it topped out far too early. You'd probably need to get some kind of transmission upgrades before this thing could be passed off as a viable racer, because it was topping out at about 140 miles an hour, I want to say. I think that was about it. I was just doing some different tests on other circuits. It just didn't really work that well. So this car could be good with a couple of handling upgrades thereabouts, and a definite transmission upgrade. Honest, I was a tiny bit disappointed just because of that annoying transmission issue. And how's this for a camera? Great work. Now, moving on to the slightly comical second car. This is the Formula Mazda. This is in an S-Class with 714 performance. This is the 4th fastest car in the pack, with 3 other ones, 2 in R-Class and another in P. But moving on to the car itself, obviously part of the racing series of Formula Mazda. They go around the world at a lot of American circuits, Indianapolis, Laguna Seca. There was a Iowa Raceway, and lots of also, as you can have a look on Google after this. I'll maybe leave a link to the wiki about this. But the car itself in Forza, pretty nice. Apart from the fact that your driver looks like rather an idiot sitting inside of it in the tiny cockpit. It literally looks like you're driving around in a toy car. But the toy has some movement to it. It is pretty rapid down the straights and in the corners. Well, it's an open wheel formula. So of course, it's going to be competitive. This lap that you're seeing around Laguna was the fastest, not quite the fastest one I did a faster one later, but the fastest one of the recording time was about a 1 minute 33.750. I'm not sure how comparative that is to other S-classes. Maybe you should have tried that, but it was only a few seconds off a monster of a car that, and again, I'll be bringing up later, actually in the next video, I think. Yeah, the monster car is in the next video. The slightly slower car that I mentioned in the Monaro parts, I think is coming up. Let me have a check. Yeah, it's coming next time, which is good because that's the boring car. But getting back to the Mazda, it just handled really nicely just through some of the more difficult corners at Laguna, specifically the corners like the corkscrew. It was just really controlled, balanced. It just had really nice overall feel, to be honest. And crossing the line for that 133. It was was really nice to drive though. Had plenty of grip. It didn't feel at all as though the back end wanted to slide out. It was just really nice and grippy. It was just... I'm not sure how this compares to other Formula races, but considering the only one to compare it to is the Formula E car, it's definitely faster than that. This car is actually really nice. Now our next car is a Nissan GTR race car. It is the number 20, as you can quite see. Nismo Module or Tech GTR at R class at 863 performance points. This is the second fastest car in the pack. 10 on overall performance points. In performance, that's a different story. However, a race car is always going to most likely get the upper hand over others, and this one, it for the most part it does, but I'm not sure about overall because I don't know why, but I drove this car a lot. Oh, you'll see later. I took it down the Lime Rock Raceway, and for a lot of it, the back end really was not stable. This was the exact opposite of the Formula Mazda. It was really twitchy and everything. It definitely didn't want to stay in a straight line on this particular, with this particular car. It didn't want to stay really in a straight line. So here we are, getting onto the actual lap now. I'm not sure if this actually does it justice. However, while I was driving it, there you go, you saw it up there. The car getting a little bit out of shape on the exit of the corner. It just didn't seem to have the amount of downforce, particularly. I know that the last car I drove was the Forza Mazda, but in this case, this car, for the R-Class race cars, looking around them, really, this thing was not the nicest of things to drive, but it was quick. It was quick, but it wasn't a bit... It certainly was very unstable, so I think some tuning may need to be done to this car, but I'm not as disappointed as I was as the Monaro, because this thing actually is quick. It's just a little bit unstable. So a little bit of work that needs to be done there. And so on to our final car of the day. We have the Nissan Skyline from 1973. One of the very earliest models, obviously, of the Skyline. This is an E-Class in 277. The second slowest car in the pack. But I'm not really that bothered because, well, this car is... Well, it's a classic car, really, isn't it? It looks really nice, particularly. I got this as a paint job of the store, just the blue with the white stripes. I quite like it. But on track, not bad. Definitely not bad at all. Particularly for the fact that this is a class down from the Monaro. It's obviously I think it is pretty much slower than the Monaro. However, in terms of just overall, I think it just feels a bit better. It felt more responsive in the corners because it's not holding a big muscle car body on it. And it's just kind of using a nice, light, obviously kind of classic Japanese car. So we obviously took this around the short version of the Hockenheim circuit, and through some of the tight corners, it just it gripped really well. There wasn't much in the way of understeer. I always felt as though the car did what I wanted it to do. Which brings on to a quick discussion, actually. This is the first time I would say this, but most of the cars that are my favourite on Forza 6 have been DLC cars, which has definitely been a thing I've never said before. Senna's McLaren was definitely one. I'm pretty sure there's a few others that I've really, really liked as well from the DLC packs. I don't know, is there any others that you guys have really liked for the Forza packs? Leave it in the comments below. Just on Forza 6 particularly, but any others that you enjoyed from any of the other games? Then you can let me know. So that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed watching. We'll be starting up next time with the Toyota TS040 Hybrid, a 1979 Opel Kadett, and the massive headlining car of the pack, the 2016 W Motors Lykan Hypersport. Hope you're looking forward to it. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.